Here, let me add myself. All right, guys. Welcome to Right Life Podcast, episode 3. It is so good to hear from you guys. Now, if you're hearing this, whatever platform you're getting it on, please like and subscribe. We need all the help we can get. We want to spread this out to as many authors as possible. And so, yeah, super glad to have you guys. I'm the host, Onion Yabor, and today, with the Right Life Podcast, we're just going to right into it. Um, Today we're just going to talk about why nobody cares, right? And this is something that I've been thinking a lot about because I've been recently making a change in Prolific, where I'm starting to do more work for writers and help them kind of do with their beta reads. And a lot of authors, I realize, struggle with this idea of people, like, for lack of a better term, like kind of giving an S, giving caring about their work. And this is the thing, as a lover slash creator, one of the most important qualities you need to have is this sort of self generative quality of being able to make things happen from within yourself. And then from that, you will attract the right people. And this is a really, really tough quality to have. Right now, I'll be completely honest. I feel like garbage and I don't want to do this right now. I'm doing it because I told myself, on Fridays I would do these uh, these podcasts and I'd get it out there because I have a plan, I have a vision for my life that I'm trying to shoot for. And I had a really, really trash week. A lot of really rough things happened. And I just realized that love is not a feeling that we feel. Love is that feeling of pride. Love is not that feeling you feel when things are going well and you feel nice and passionate and things are happy. Yes, that's the gratitude, and that's one of the benefits of feeling it. But I think love, if you were going to characterize it as a feeling, it's really that feeling of pride, that sense of accomplishment, or maybe that small relief, even that numbness that comes after having followed through on something you knew was important and didn't want to do, but you did anyway. And when you're not getting supported by people, when nobody cares about you, when no one's going to pay attention, that's how you know where your love is, right? Because when you are choosing to follow your craft and to write, in spite of the fact that, hey, maybe nobody's going to pay attention, maybe nobody's going to care, but you're going to follow through and build and work and craft and grow as much as you can because you're committed to excellence within yourself and excellence within whatever you're doing, whatever you're creating. The willingness to do that, that's what makes you a loving creature. That's what makes you creator. That's what makes you excellent. And so being able to really move into that level of care, that level of focus, that's what's really important. And there's no way around it, man. There's just going to be a lot of times where nobody's going to care. And I'll be honest, like, I've really felt it this week as well, especially like there's there's so much lack of care or focus when you're trying to get on the way up. And if you don't have any value or anything to give to people, like, there's just no reason why they're going to invest in you. And it's a tremendous amount of work. It really is. And that's it's tough, and it's really tough. And sometimes I get emotional about it. And I think sometimes I'm like, man, God, is this worth it, right? Because you're striving. I feel like as an author, I think for me, I'm doing it because I want to see the world become a better place, and I'm trying to make a difference. But making that difference is hard. I think especially when people are just going to come in and out because everyone's doing their own thing. So it's really important that you just be consistent, and then you assist people and build that wall brick by brick, layer by layer. Um, and nobody's going to care about you while you're doing it. Or at least, like, if you're fortunate enough to have anybody care, appreciate that and recognize how much of a blessing that is, because I think there's a lot of people more often than not that just don't have any care. I know for me, one of the things that was most difficult when I released the first Girl and the Beast, um, I showed it to a bunch of people. I remember showing it to my mom. She didn't care at all. And that really hurt me. It devastated me. I think that's why I've been so long and waited so long to publish after that. Because I still wrote, I still kept writing because I liked it, but it was really hard to sort of move the chains because it just felt like I was always going to have to celebrate my successes alone. And that's not easy. That's not easy. And I'd like to offer more value than just like nobody's going to care, so get to it. Um, and really, that's kind of all I got. I hope that eventually I'll grow and be able to provide more value. Excuse me. Because I'm not going to lie, like busting my ass and trying to grow and build, it's exhausting. It's really exhausting. And I've been really tired, you know, from just trying to create this content and move this business. And I'm fortunate enough that, yes, I can do it full time. And, if I've managed my finances and I'm savvy, things will stay together. But it is a bit of a white knuckle. I'm not going to lie. Like, it's a lot of stress, it's a lot of difficulty. And um, I don't know when it will get easy. I don't know when it will go from a feeling of sort of constant dread or like this sliding, like where it doesn't feel like it's going to slide and fall apart at any second, to this sustainable, healthy, stable ground. I don't know when it's ever going to tilt, but I know that until you keep going, if you don't go until it feels that stability, it'll never grow. I don't know how things pop or how things grow or build up, but that's the only way you're ever going to like really substantiate it. And I think back of when I wanted to do write and have a business and coach full time. And that was like, I'm living the dream now that I had, 3, 4, 5 years ago. And so I'm doing it now. And I realized that, like, okay, I have made progress, and things are getting more stable. The incline is slowly leveling out. And I don't know if that pressure ever exists. So sometimes I just feel like I wish I could have more support and sort of energy behind it because I've been pushing it so alone for so long. But this is what we do. This is what we do. Um, so this is what I encourage you all to do is just recognize like, hey, I've got to do this for the long term. So whatever way you can, set it up that you can do it long term because this is a marathon, my guys, my gals. This is there's no easy route through this. You just have to move through it and it's never going to be easy. And it's always going to be a long journey forward. And you just have to do what you can as best you can and await the results, like Nintendo. And real talk, I mean, nobody's going to care. And you have to be okay with that and recognize that if nobody's caring about your work and what you're doing, that's not an indicator that there's something wrong. It's not an indicator that you're failing or that you suck or that, your writing isn't worthwhile. It's just that most of the time people don't care about things like great things until other people care about it. So what you're doing is you're looking for those rare people who can appreciate great things for what they are. And that's not most people. So that's okay. It's not an indicator of you that, most people are probably just going to look over your accomplishments or you're working out or you're trying. That's why you got to do it out of love. And it has to be a labor of love because anything less than a labor of love won't ever be what you need. If you're writing because you think I'll do this and I'll have a career and people will validate me and it'll be cool, you're doing it for the wrong reasons and you're not going to find the love that you need because real talk, that's not what this is about. Like love, you have to do it from that place deep down inside of you. And kind of getting off like sort of in the more spiritual aspects, I don't know if that's possible to do if you don't have a connection with a higher power, right? I don't think it's possible to love without a higher power because that level of sustainability when you're not getting any support from those around you, that level of creativity that's needed when nobody else around you is discussing these things, and the amount of effort it takes to attract those environments, stay in those environments, and make sacrifices that are needed in order to move forward, that is a tremendous amount of energy. And in order to do that, you have to be connected for something way beyond yourself. But it does come full circle, and it does, like, a snowball, or, sort of like how a solar system is formed. It's just a bunch of gas swirling in the ether until eventually it collects into a star. And then that star gets enough gravity and builds other particles that have become planets. And then, eventually a solar system is formed. And then you're like, oh, I have this beautiful life, I have this amazing thing. But at the center point, was that will, that love to continue forward in, your writing career, in your craft, and recognize that at the beginning, just like deep dark of space, there will be nothing, right? It'll just be an empty abyss. It's going to be an empty ether, and nobody's going to care, right? But that's where all the potential is. That's where that infinite creative potential is, because you can make it whatever you want. um and oh, thanks so much, Martina. I appreciate that. um but yeah, the most important thing, I appreciate that being beautifully said and you appreciating that. But the most important thing is just that ultimately, like, you have to collect and pay attention to what it is you're doing, and you have to believe in that higher power. Like, you have to move forward. And I appreciate anybody who's supporting. Like right now, um like, as we're recording this, like, I don't have a huge audience. I don't have a bunch of people. So it's like, well, why do I do it and show up? Because eventually, like, that energy is going to collect and more people will start showing up. And, just by layers, right? Recognize the level of sunlight that gets hit on Mercury is also not the same sunlight that Pluto experiences. But it's not because the sun is any weaker, it's because Pluto's farther away. And recognize that there's some people who are just farther away from your brilliance than others, right? But you have to be your own Mercury. You have to be, hell, sometimes you have to be your own Venus, Earth, Mars. You got to be all your inner planets. You have to witness yourself at every step of the way, being the sun. But if you do that long enough, eventually others will collect. You'll get your asteroid belt, then you'll get your Jupiters, your Saturns, and then eventually it'll all just collect and become this brilliant system of planets working together, sort of revolving around your will, that capacity, that love, that creation, that willingness to put something forth into the universe. And recognize, when you obtain that will and you create something that well, you're going to be a rare human being. You're going to be that center point. And what you're deciding to do when you say, hey, I want to write books and I want to change my life and I want to influence others, you're becoming a rare type of human being, because most people are floating around in this cosmos being insubstantial specks of dust, and they're okay with that. And that's fine. We have to be okay with that. But when you say, I want to be more than a speck of dust, I want to be more than a random asteroid floating in the belt, you're making a very conscious decision to be far greater than you know. And that takes a tremendous amount of energy. So don't ever give up on that love within you, and do everything you can to cultivate it. Like, really protect it. And sometimes that means that, honestly, sometimes you got to cut off certain activities, certain relationships, not cut them off, but stop giving energy to them, because you need every single ounce and fiber of energy you can muster to put into your dreams and your goals. And if you're having to put that into people and activities and hobbies and things that aren't congruent with that, you're only diminishing the value you're going to give to the world ultimately. So that's my call out to you guys, is look at what are the things that I can reduce energy, what are the things that are really giving energy to my core fundamental love in my writing and my creativity, so that I can become who I'm wanting to be. And ask myself, is these activities, these hobbies, are these things supporting that vision, or are they drawing energy away from it? And I just ask that you be mindful of it and be honest about what it is you're seeing. And then just take the initiative and the steps to do that, right? So if it's people and relationships you need to start saying no to, start saying no. If it's activities you need to start doing more of, that recharge your energy, start doing that. But just make those investments and just be more conscious of your energy, because everything's going to move from time, energy, and then eventually you're going to get solid results, right? But you could only do that when you get your time right. And then after you get your time right, you get your energy right. And then from there, you're going to start getting your results and optimization. And that's going to be how it steps up. It's never going to skip any steps. So yeah, there's no shortcuts in this path of love that is a prolific writer. Anyway, so I've kind of done my rant today, and that was just sort of the things I wanted to talk about on the stream podcast and just put out there. I think it's really important, to really hold on to your energy and recognize that time bends to the will of those who use it, right? And if you are used by your time, you will bend to it. But if you use your time properly, it will bend to you. So we always have far more time than we think we do, but far less time than we hope. So get going. Don't procrastinate and live your dreams to the fullest. Stay happy, stay healthy, and remember, you're the author of your lives, so keep writing. Peace.